stranger started talking, made it plain to folks around. Was an Arizona Ranger, wouldn't be too long in town. He was here to take an outlaw, back alive or maybe dead. And he said it didn't matter, he was after Texas Red. After Texas Red. Well, I apologize for that intro, but today we're going to shoot a gun that reportedly belonged to an Arizona Ranger. So every time I handle this gun, I always think of that verse from that old Marty Robbins song. Now in that old Marty Robbins song, that Arizona Ranger takes for Texas Red with a big iron off his hip. But I'd like to think that he would have been packing something that he could take a long range shot with if that situation arose. And what better than this Arizona Ranger owned 36-inch barreled Winchester model 1895. Now of course the seller told me it come from an Arizona Ranger, and he got some other guns from the family and whatnot. There's no documentation, but you know, for me it's just an interesting sideline and makes me always think of that Marty Robbins song. Now these 1895s, the longest barrel length you could get was 36 inches. In fact, I think for all the Winchester models, if I'm not mistaken, 36 inches was the longest option. And they didn't make very many of these 95s with a 36-inch barrel. You see, the only calibers that you could get with an extra long barrel is the 38-72 and the 40-72, which were the least popular for the model 1895. And then to make them 36 inches long, you know, that wasn't a real popular option. Now the factory record, Jessica Bennett looked it up over at the Cody Firearms Museum when she was helping out with Rob Cassab and Brad Dunbar writing that wonderful 1895 book, and she found 6 that were listed in the factory record. And before this one, only one had showed up that was commonly known in the collector circles, so this is only really the second one to surface. And this is the first one of the early flat side models. See, this is the first, around 5,000 of them, of the 95s were a flat side, so this one is one of those early flat sides. So as far as we know, this is the only flat side 36-inch barreled 95. This one is octagon barrel, has a great sight package on it. We've got the globe front sight with an ivory bead. We've got the Kleiman Lyman rear sight, model 21. Makes a great sight picture. 2 circles, you line up the 2 circles and you're on target. So this is one that I really don't feel I'm going to shoot a whole bunch, obviously, but I did feel the need to actually come out here and shoot it at least once. So today's the day. We're gonna put a few rounds through it. We're not going to take the time to work up loads for it or get it all sighted in, and we may do something like that in the future. I've got another 38-72 like this one, or it's a little shorter barrel than this one, of course, that I'm going to work up some loads for, and we get that all dialed in. Maybe we'll put a few through this one and see if they work in this old rifle as well. But for today, we're just going to have a little fun, shoot this old girl just to say that we did, make sure she's all in good working shape. We've got some loads, some real light loads, and of course YouTube's getting really funny about reloading and whatnot, so I didn't show any of that stuff, but I loaded up some really light loads for it, and we're gonna put a few of those through it. I don't feel the need to hot rod this old girl at all. So stick around, we'll get all set up, and we'll see if we can't hit a target or 2 with this old girl. Okay, so let's take a little closer look at this unusual 1895. Now there isn't a whole lot of finish on it. This gun got carried a lot. It's a well-used gun. You'll see the flat side here, the little bigger magazine. Now all flat sides had a bigger magazine, and then even after we went to the second model, the 38-72 and 40-72 both had the larger magazine as well. Now we'll pan down this barrel and keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There it is. There's the end of that old barrel and that globe front sight. Now I've had some people ask me about, because these octagon barrels are tapered, if the end of this barrel, the muzzle end, is really thin. And surprisingly, now I've got several different lengths of these octagon barreled 95s. All of them have
roughly the same diameter, within a few thousandths at the muzzle. So Winchester apparently adjusted the taper in these barrels so that the muzzle would be the same thickness no matter what the length of the barrel. And I found that kind of interesting. And I've talked to some people who are experts on some of the other Winchester models, and they say that Winchester did the same on some of the other models as well. Okay, that's enough looking at this old girl. Let's get to shooting. Okay, before we start doing any offhand shooting, I'd like to put one through it just on a target fairly close, just to see where she's shooting, just so we don't waste a whole bunch of shots if it's way off. So here we go. Who knows how long it's been since this old gun's been fired. First shot through this old 36-inch 1895. Oh, I love it. Well, I'm pretty happy. That shot on paper, while it wasn't right in the bullseye, was pretty close, and it made a round hole. See, I'd loaded some 380 diameter bullets for this, but they wouldn't quite chamber. So the only other size I had there was some 377s. I've never had a lot of luck with 3872 stabilizing them, but because this thing has such a pristine bore, it stabilized those bullets just fine. So let's see how she shoots offhand now. Hit it just above the water line. We'll hit it a little lower this time. No doubt about that one. Look at that cap fly. Shooting them a little bit high. Got that one a little lower. Oh, we got one more left. Way up on the hill. Let's see what we can do about that. This is kind of like Quigley. That big long barrel, you got to get right on it or it starts moving on you. Got it. Oh, that did it. Oh, what a great gun to shoot. That is just so much fun. Now this kind of in honor of some of my friends in the Winchester Arms Collectors Association. I kind of was bragging about this gun, and a whole bunch of them were kind of after me to shoot it. And we're just getting ready to get packed up and head over to the big Winchester Arms Collectors Association show in Cody. So I wanted to get this thing shot and get this episode out beforehand in honor of all my friends in Waka. We'll see you guys in Cody. Well, I got to give a big thanks to my friends who encouraged me to shoot this old girl. You know, I was a little hesitant to at first, but then I thought, oh, what the heck, I mean, they're made for shooting. Boy, I'm glad I did. This is one of the best shooting guns I have. I mean, it just shoots the lights out. Now, I have to admit, on the first round of shooting, this backup camera that gets the jugs exploding malfunctioned for some reason, and I had to run back down to the shop, fill up some more jugs, because we got to see some jugs blowing up, right? So I had to shoot 2 magazine fulls through this old girl. You know, it was a dirty job, but somebody had to do it to make this episode right, huh? Well, you can forget that what I said earlier about that I was just going to maybe shoot this once and put it away or something. Boy, this is way too much fun to shoot. So when I get those 3872 loads perfected, we're going to come back up here, get this thing dialed in just right, and see if we can't take a really good long shot with it. Something Elmer Keith would be proud of, huh? Well, this has been great fun. I hope you enjoyed it. There's not much more I've ever enjoyed than shooting this old gun. Until next time, happy trails from the Cinnabar.